Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of the Big O Podcast. I am your host, Julian Ortiz, and today I am joined by a very special guest known as the Queen of the Underground, whose new album drops December 3rd. Go get yourself the pre-order now and download Infrared. The one and only Justina Valentine. Justina, how are you doing today?
What's up, babe? How are you? What's going on? How's everything? What's up in Canada? Because, I love Canada.
Canada is good. We are starting to catch up with the States when it comes to some of our COVID cases. But as we're talking just before the podcast, it's snowing pretty heavily in Toronto, which means it's winter time. It's nice and cold.
Crazy. Yeah, I feel like it's always colder in Canada.
We actually had, some pretty nice weather like up until last week. And then overnight just got a little crazy. That was it.
Yeah, it's getting like a little cold out here, but it's not. I don't think we haven't had any snow yet.
Well,
and if we have, I wouldn't know because we're all like inside anyway. So
that's it.
Yeah, no crazy snowstorms yet.
Now, being born in New Jersey means you're no stranger to sort of winter, but it couldn't be more fitting for you, especially when you look at Passaic County's motto, and that is rich history, bright future. Coming from a family of musicians like you have, What was your relationship with music growing up?
I've always been a huge music head, and I've always had a very eclectic taste in my music. I mean, obviously, of course, I'm a hip hop head, but it's a lot of other genres and artists that I fell in love with and just grew up with. You know what I mean? From like the Beatles to I also have a deep love for R&B. I'm a huge Mary J. Blige fan. Loved Madonna. So it's like, hip hop, of course, was like my main love, but I was also influenced by a lot of other artists and genres. And I think that's why my music is eclectic. And, I don't just rap, I sing, I dibble dabble here and there. Even on the new album, I even have a Jersey club record,
wow.
called Lucky You. Yeah. And I actually just dropped it very recently. And the way that came about was, social media and all that is always ever changing, right? So before the quarantine, not everybody had TikTok, but during the quarantine, everybody got TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
So, I was doing a lot of TikToks that were going viral and stuff. And then for me, I was like, okay, let me do a song specifically for TikTok, which was when I did Lucky You, and that song is like my top used song on the app. So I just, wanted to find ways to use my time and just evolve with the social media the way it's evolving. So yeah, my love of all the different genres, I think definitely reflects in my music, and it will, also reflect in this album. I'm giving you hip hop, I'm giving you R&B, all while having like a pop sensibility. And like I said, I even threw in like the Jersey club track. So
now listen,
something about this album I wanted to tell you. The music for the album was done like a couple months ago. And okay. I was slated to drop it in November, and then I had to push it back because I could not decide on an album title that felt good. I couldn't decide, and every album is different. Like when I did my Feminem album, the name of the album came to me first, and then the name and the theme came to me, and then I recorded all the music. With this one, I had all the music done, and I could not decide on a title that I just loved. So I just kept waiting, and like I scribbled down so many album titles, and then when Infrared hit me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so bomb. And then like I knew what it meant, but I'm like, let me look up the exact definition.
Yeah.
And the exact definition is basically it's light that's so bright that it's not visible to the human eye.
Yeah.
And that felt really fitting for my album and for me as an artist, because I feel like everyone knows me from TV, but sometimes like the mainstream media doesn't really want to give it up for my music. No matter what I do, and like no matter how impressive it is, or no matter if they're like, yo, she wrote this whole album herself, no co-write. I could do crazy story tracks like OnlyFans. I could go up on Sway's Five Fingers of Death, and it's like they still kind of want to, the fans give it up for me, and I cherish my fans, but the mainstream media is kind of like, But yeah, Justina Valentine from Wild and Out, like they give it up for the TV, but they don't necessarily want to give it up for the music. So
yeah, they put you in a box almost.
exactly,
You're in a box of you're an entertainer, whereas you have so many different facets to what you do.
exactly.
That's it. Now, it's interesting because that sort of ties into my next question, and that
Yeah.
is, now some of us grow up having a passion, singular, and it's usually something that we're good at or something that we enjoy. You, however, grew up with many passions. Not only did you love music, but you were also into dance, theater,
Yes.
loved making people laugh and putting on a show. And now you
Yeah.
fast forward to the future, and you're still doing exactly what you loved to do as a kid, but now your stage is just a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger. The thing for me was like I always like to just entertain people. I always like to make people laugh, and that made me feel good. Just like seeing people have a reaction, seeing people laugh, seeing people enjoy themselves. That's what always like gave me joy and fueled me. So like you said, now that I get to do that on like such a large scale on TV and like obviously touring with Wild 'N Out, we're in front of 10 to 15,000 people audiences. It's just really a dream come true. And like we were saying about this year, how it was such a crazy year and we were stuck in the house and I couldn't do these big stages and be
Right.
filming for the TV show. That's why I really was feeding my social media to keep that going and to be able to keep doing that. And I use the time to really grow my YouTube, really grow my TikTok, and keep entertaining, from the house and just keep it pumping and keep it going, because that's what fuels me, is just making people laugh and making people feel good and making people feel something, be able to dance to a song, sing the lyrics, feel it. And I think during this time was a really important time where people really needed that. So that
For sure.
brought me joy and kept me motivated to be able to keep doing that during this time.
And it's one of those things where I talked to a previous guest about this. Like COVID-19 really brought people together in a way that probably wouldn't have normally happened. For
Right.
instance, this interaction between you and me, or your TikTok or your YouTube or your Instagram, you got to put a different amount of energy into it than you probably normally would have, because you would have been on tour. You just wouldn't have had the time. And
100%.
so what has that experience been like when it comes to interacting with the fans?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely like hit the nail on the head. Having this time was a time for me when it was like, okay, let me see what's on my to-do list and knock some of this shit out,
Right.
Even, I've been wanting to do my own line. So I launched my own line, J Valentina Boutique. I started that in May. I was able to grow my TikTok in a way where, I'm doing TikToks every day, growing the fan base. I'm up to like 6 million on TikTok. I have some videos that have like 20 million views on
Jeez.
TikTok. So it's like you said, I was able to do that. Whereas if I had been on tour or been filming, I would have still been doing it, but I wouldn't have been able to give it that same amount of time. I started a
Right.
blog series for YouTube called Quarantina with Justina.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
it was just me in the house being goofy, blah, 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 whatever, not thinking that people were going to gravitate to that the way they did. And then, that shit just blew up. So once I did the first Quarantine with Justina and it had like over 1 million views, I'm like, okay, we need to do another one. So I was definitely able to really like nurture the YouTube channel, the TikTok, all that, like you said. And even, finishing this album and putting this album together, I ordered the recording equipment. I was recording, some of it I recorded from the house.
Right.
So it just gave me time to really knock some of these things off my to-do list and, just get it done.
And for anyone who doesn't follow you on Instagram, I have to say, or even TikTok, your impression of Donald Trump, by far one of the funniest, like laugh out loud videos I have seen. That entire series is just bananas.
Not to cut you off, it's good, maybe great. I don't know. Some people say it's tremendous. Actually, they say it's the best impression in the history of the world. And if you say it's not, it's fake news. And if anyone else says it, they're a really nasty woman or man.
It's perfect. It's honestly one of the like laugh out loud moments when I come across your
Yeah, I
page.
mean,
It's just so funny.
And that's something that was birthed during the vlog. Like every time, I have never watched the news the way I have in my entire life. The way we have so like the news was on. So Trump kept being on. So I'm fucking around. We're filming the vlogs, and I'm getting in front of the TV and impersonating him, and everyone's just laughing. So like I was telling you, I love to entertain. You see everyone's reaction; they're all laughing. So I just kept doing it, and then it was like Halloween, I think, and I put my hair like that. I put on some it was like body makeup. I threw it on my face, and I just went for it, and we just started recording, and I was like, yo, I'm like, this shit is funny. So it wasn't like anything planned. It happened really organically. So I put it up on my Instagram. Everyone was like, yo, you need to be on SNL, this and that. So then I did the trick or treat because it was Halloween.
Yep.
Oh, trick or treat, always wanting something for free. Must be a Democrat. And so then I just kept going with it. I think I did like 7 Trump videos. Then I did a Melania video. And now I've gotten back into, I used to do this character called Gianna, just like an Italian cousin of mine. So I brought her back. So yeah, definitely have a lot of that coming for you, you know, in the end of this year and next year. So definitely be on the watch for the characters.
Lots of great content.
Thank you so much.
I want to create a musical timeline. So we jump back to May 22nd, 2012. You released your first mixtape called Route 80.
Route 80, yes.
Bangers like Hip Hop Joan Jett,
Thank you.
Bubblegum, and what I think might be like the greatest heat check first song of any mixtape ever, and that is Gloves Off. And so
Gloves Off was a good one, man.
So I want to know, in the most hip hop way possible, now that the gloves are off, do motherfuckers still think you're soft?
I don't think so, not anymore. You know,
they know what's up.
Now they know what's up, and I've definitely it's been a blessing to have the platform of Wildin' Out and TV for people to really hear my bars and from Wildin' Out to Sway and all that. But you know what I mean? Like sometimes the gloves still have to come off.
That's it.
Because motherfuckers might not know. But the Route 80 album was definitely a classic and definitely underrated because at that time, you know, my platform was nowhere near what it is now. And it's funny you bring that up because just last night in my Instagram story, I was chewing gum, so I blew a bubble and I put bubble gum behind it. And I had just got off TikTok live and a lot of people were requesting bubblegum and I'm like, oh my gosh, what a throwback. So I actually put that on my Instagram story last night. But yeah, that's definitely a classic. And what's cool about my albums are as I progress and keep putting out more music, people keep going back to the old music. So someone who may have never heard Route 80, they go to my Spotify, they're like, all right, they're like, you know what I mean, Favorite Vibe, Infrared, Scarlet Letter. Oh, okay, what's Route 80? So now, you know, they'll start streaming that, which is like a cool thing and a great thing about music and to have a catalog because they can always go back. And, you know, like Route 80, I dropped on that. So it was just very, very recently.
Right.
I'm like, yo, it's cool. We'll leave it on that piff. People can go get it for free, but I need to have this on my Spotify. So I put it out, you know, via like iTunes, Apple Music, and Spotify because not everyone's gonna go to that piff, but everyone's gonna go to your Spotify. You know what I mean? And see the discography. So it's good to have that so people could just like go down memory lane and see I've been lit, I've been nice, and just get that like, you know, music history and stuff.
And it's interesting because that's exactly what I did when talking to Joan, who shout out Joan, one of the nicest people in the game.
She's a good egg. I'm gonna keep her around.
Yeah. when we started talking and locking stuff down, I was like, let me go back. Let me see, get the range of where we started to where we are now. Yeah. And it's as much as you grow, the sound started off super crisp. Like the sound was strong from the beginning, and I'm listening to it and I'm like, damn, Hip Hop Joan Jett, bubblegum. But something about Gloves Off just like really was like, she's just letting
that one.
She's like, everyone's just being put on notice that Justina is here.
You know what's funny? That was like my first mixtape that I put out on that piff, but don't get me wrong, I was selling shit hand to hand. Songs burned on CDs, Master P style. So, yeah, like, and that's what I love for people to go back and for fans now to be like, yo, I just heard Route 80 or yo, I just heard Red Velvet. Like, yo, you been nice. Like, that's dope because, you know, like people say, and it's really true, and I say it on one of my joints on Feminem, it takes 10 years for an overnight success story. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
Like for motherfuckers that really nothing was given to them, it was no handouts, they really had to grind to get on. It really takes 10 years for an overnight success story. So
100%.
you know, that's Route 80 and all that, and even, you know, what I've done prior to that's all part of the history. So I love for people to go and check that out.
So you release Route 80, and then you jump on a few tours, including opening for Mike Stud, and you're on the Warped Out tour, and you followed up with Valentine, Red Velvet, as you said, and then your first, like, I guess, studio album or non-mixtape or EP in Scarlet Letter. What would you say were like the biggest lessons you learned in what seemed like a very short 4-period span?
You know, for me as an artist, like we were saying, that is really eclectic and enjoys making and listening to all types of music. You know, Route 80 was pretty much mostly all hip hop, and then I hit him the next year with I guess Valentine was an EP or an album. It was like 8 joints. And that was very Valentine. I wanted to show him a different side of me, and that was very R&B heavy. Of course, it still had some hip hop as well, but like that was very R&B heavy because I wanted to show him, look, I could do this too. So then the next year when I came with Red Velvet, I was like, okay, well, they know I can rap. I showed him the R&B side. So now let me give him a marriage of both. So Red Velvet was really, even though on every one, Route 80 still had singing, Valentine still had rapping, but the one was more hip hop heavy. Other one was more R&B heavy. Then when I came with Red Velvet, that was really like a nice marriage of both of the singing and the rapping. Then when I came with Scarlet Letter, I mean, Scarlet Letter has some bangers from Candyland with my boy Fetty Wap, all the way with my boy Futuristic, Faded, Blackout, Victory Now, Sugar Daddy. Like, Scarlet Letter is almost one of those albums, and that was, I dropped that album when I was first filming my first season of Wild 'N Out, so I still didn't have my platform that I have now. That's one of those albums, like, I almost, like, some of them joints have to get re-released. Like, they were, like, I have really, really big, like, big songs, like, big songs on that album. Some of them I still perform. Like, when I'll do a show, I still perform all the way. You know what I mean? Sometimes we still throw in Faded, because just those are, like, fan favorites, songs that they still love. So that was just like, had really big records. Then the next project I dropped was Feminem. And at that point, I was on TV. I had my platform. And obviously that's a mixtape. I did all remixes of Eminem's classics. And that, again, I put out through Dat Piff. So that got a lot of eyeballs on it, a lot of streams, millions of streams on and views on all the YouTube videos. So that really, I think, was my first project that when I dropped got like a lot of eyeballs on it. You know, like, don't get me wrong, like Scarlet Letter like has over like, you know, has like a couple million streams and all that on Spotify. Like I said, I didn't have my TV platform yet. So that's still growing. But Feminem was the first project that I was on TV. People knew who I was. I had the social media following. So that was, you know, I love that project. It did great things for me. And then I hit them last year with the Favorite Vibe album, which also is a classic, has some really, really amazing songs. I mean, every song on there to me, like, is a hit in its own way. So, and then, you know, Favorite Vibe obviously has been my highest stream album. All the videos have done really well, which, you know, makes me super excited for Infrared, because it's like, you know, now that I have a couple successful albums under my belt with the, you know, even the older ones growing, I know Infrared's going to just come out and smack everybody in the face.
That's it. I mean, it's the next progression.
Exactly.
In your continued growth. And that's the thing. It's most of the albums, if not all of them, that I've been streaming and listening to, they're the press play and you can listen through. And that's a hard thing to do in music today. People get bored. People, you know, okay, listen, I've had enough of this, but like you can press play on track 1 and get to track 16 and enjoy the journey through each and every track. And that's a hard thing to do, but
Yeah.
but when you do something like that, that's when you get the, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million streams.
Yes.
And it's hard because like you're choosing which song to put out to promote, but like you could literally like just close your eyes, pull one out and be like, this is going to be a banger because it is that good already. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic.
And it's funny. That's how I felt like even when I was doing the track listing, I just like, I had a hard time figuring out how I wanted to do the track listing because I love every track. So, I was just kind of doing the track listing in a way where it just sonically felt good. You know what I mean? From song to song. But, I was just like, wow, I really love, like, there was no record that I wanted to hide. Like, where can I, like, hide this one? So I just, I mean, even the track listing felt really good. I started with Strawberry Soda because that song is just so fire. The video's fire. I'm like, let me hit him with that. It's definitely one of the most popular songs off the album. It's already out. So I'm like, let me drop that. Then right from there, I went into Just Spit It, which is straight bars, no hook, just straight spitting the whole time. Then I went into Fake Bitches, which is hard bars, catchy ass hook. And then I just, from there, kept going, went into kind of like, the singing hooks, rapping. Then I went into just a section of just like straight bars, like bars.
Yeah.
Then I went into my little Jersey Club section where I got the little Lucky You song and Envy. It's like a two-seater section where I got like the two Jersey Club type songs. And then I ended with a song, it's unreleased, called Somewhere. And it just is the most feel good, and it's like a song about 2020 because you can't, I felt like I couldn't have a song, I couldn't have an album without a song that kind of addressed all the bullshit of 2020. So I end the album with that because I feel like it's a high note. It's a very uplifting song. I flipped you're the first one to know, I flipped it Somewhere over the Rainbow song, and I kind of flipped that in my own way, and it's just an uplifting song that I wanted to end the album with. That felt like a really good way to like button the album up. So yeah, I'm excited. It's definitely an album you could listen, straight through, and I just can't wait for people to hear it. And I'm excited to see where we're gonna chart, because I think we're definitely gonna land on the chart. So
well, based on the response so far, I think it's heading. It's like one of those things where it's like people who see movies, they see like the test groups, and then you have your projections of where it's gonna go. I have a feeling, based on the response on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, I mean, this is gonna exceed some expectations. This is gonna be up there. It's gonna be a banger.
That's what I'm hoping.
So one of the last things I want to ask you, in 2016, we talked about it. You joined Wild 'N Out, and immediately make an impact as a clever, quick-witted lyricist with a gift for a memorable hook when it comes to songs and skits. And of course, an irresistible chorus, not to mention the incredible stage presence.
Thank you.
This seems like the culmination of all of your talents on a stage and being able to showcase them all. What was it like when you first joined Wild 'N Out, and how did you adjust to that show's environment?
Wild 'N Out was like the biggest blessing in my life. Like, it was just so incredible. It was like, it couldn't have been a more perfect show for me, since I have been known for my freestyling ability, and that's what got me on the show, was the producer seeing videos of me spitting real freestyles, people giving me words and just like freestyling straight off the top. Some people say freestyle when it's a verse, it's not a song. No, that's a free verse.
Right.
I'm known for my freestyle, a real off the top freestyle. So the show was like, it couldn't have been a more perfect show. I mean, there's games where you get on a bull and words come up and you have to freestyle while you're on a bull, and like you're in a battle and you have to give a rebuttal to what somebody said. So the show was perfect. It was heaven sent. It was a gift from God. Nick Cannon is my man, from now until forever. And that was such a blessing for me. And it was a culmination of all my hard work, because, it was such a hard, tedious grind for me to get there and get to the point where my freestyles were recognized, to even get to this Wild 'N Out audition. So it was, like you said, a culmination of all my blood, sweat, tears, years, clawing my way up to get that respect and get noticed. So yeah, Wildin' Out was a huge blessing. And as far as adjusting to the scene, I mean, I got on the scene and became the Wild Style Queen. Like I just did what I
That's
did,
it.
and like I said, the show was so perfect and like so tailored to what I love to do and what I excel at, that it was just a blessing beyond belief. So just a blessing that I'll always be grateful for, and just like know that that's what put me on the map, in a big way.
For sure.
So just an amazing blessing.
Now, you are known as the queen of the wild style, as you said. Is there a favorite game segment from the show and a favorite adversary that you'd loved going toe-to-toe with so you could really measure your bars against them in a battle of quick wit?
Yeah, well, definitely all my favorite games are all the rap games. Like you said, Wild Style, Bull Spittin', Flow Job, Netflix and Chill. I'm sorry, Sex Flicks and Chill. Basically, all the rapping games.
Right.
All the rapping games are my favorites. Although there are a lot of non-rapping games that I also have come to really love. But all the rapping games are my favorites. And favorite adversaries, I would say, and it's what the fans want to see. They love to see me up against DC Young Fly, and they love to see me up against Conceited. I mean, of course, they also love me with like Hitman Holla and Charlie Clips. Yeah. Shout out to all my bros on there. My boy Sharon from Canada.
That's right.
They love to see me go against all the rappers, but they love to see me against DC Young Fly. DC and Con, they love to see us go toe to toe. So every time I'm on live, they're like, "Yo, call DC, call Con, call Hitman." All these, So
yeah,
I think they love to see me go against any of the battle rappers, but yeah, specifically them.
Don't sleep on it. You have some of the funniest segments from Let Me Holla. My wife and I absolutely love it. So I mean, that is one of our favorite segments.
Yeah, I've kissed a lot of Wildin' Out girls.
Hey, I wasn't gonna bring it out. I wasn't gonna bring it up.
All right.
That was just me. Don't get mad at me, Joe. I didn't say it.
They all have fresh breath. That's the tea.
Now, listen, I know you have a lot of PR that you got to continue to do. So I just want to start off by saying thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. Your new album, Infrared, available December 3rd, wherever you get your music.
Yes.
If people want to follow you on social media or pick up your 2021 calendar or even shop online for some J. Valentina boutique pieces, oh, there we go. Where can they do so? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so the boutique is jvalentinaboutique.com. The regular merch is JustinaValentine.com. You can follow me, Justina Valentine, everywhere. And yes, Infrared, December 3rd. Go get that. Joel, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you. Love to all of Canada. I've been running through my six with my woes and all that. In the great words of Drake, I can't wait to get out there soon. And thank you so much for having me and all the love. I really appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Once again, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you. For my guest, Justina Valentine, I'm your host, Julian Ortiz. Thank you for watching and listening, everyone. Peace.